Welcome to HR Voices, real talk with people leaders who are in it every day. We get into the messy stuff, the challenges that keep them up at night, and how they're actually fixing them. No corporate fluff, just smart conversations for people who care about people. HR Voices is brought to you by All Voices, the platform that cuts hours of manual HR work with step-by-step workflows and AI to assist with investigations, performance improvement, accommodations, leave requests, and more, so you can get back to the human side of HR. Welcome to HR Voices. I'm your host, Emily Finnick, and today I get to chat with Harry Osle, the CHRO of the Hackett Group. Welcome, Harry.
Emily, it's always a pleasure. Great to see you and hear your voice today. Thank you for
Thank you.
allowing me to join.
So, Harry, the Hackett Group is a consulting firm that helps companies with benchmarking, best practice, digital transformations. I'm sure you've been very busy with AI lately, I'm guessing.
Yes.
So before we jump in, I was hoping you could give us a little bit more context on Hackett Group, your role as CHRO, and the people that work there.
Absolutely. I helped start the company 28 years ago, and we're considered a boutique intellectual property consulting. So what that really means, Emily, is that we leverage our really deep intellectual property across all the disciplines: HR, payroll, finance, procurement, and help companies drive to better performance. Consider us like a fitness coach or a business coach for companies.
Well, when we think about the clients that you meet with, but also your team specifically, looking ahead, it's November, we're all thinking about 2026. I wanted to start by asking you, what is the biggest challenge that either your clients are coming to you with or that you're facing directly as a people leader at Hackett?
I think the biggest challenge that organizations are facing when we look at our client base and our own organization, Emily, it's really around the change velocity. If you look at what's occurring in the marketplace, whether that's through digital transformation, evolution, or simply looking at AI as a catalyst and its ability to change and redefine how you do work, it's really quite impressive. It can create both excitement and anxiety in our associates and in the business. Our job as CHRO individuals or individuals that lead talent is really to build confidence through education, through reskilling, through tools to help our associates change within that velocity and help the business change within that velocity. There's always kind of that adage around, if the velocity of change externally is faster, the internal change or the ability for you to change internally, then the end is near. So our roles as CHROs is to help the organization and the associates change and drive that velocity of change quicker.
So what are some tactics for that? I mean, I feel that myself personally within our team at All Voices. Every time I go for dinner with friends, that's what we're talking about. Everything is moving so fast. So we have an audience here of people leaders. What are some tactics? Where do you even begin to sort of speed up internally so that so that external velocity doesn't crush you?
It's a great question. So think about your dinner that you just spoke about. When you went to dinner, you probably looked up the restaurant, you looked up reviews, you looked up how to get there faster, what are the directions to get there. All that is AI driven, and a lot of the things that we're doing today are going to be transformed through AI. So I got this question from one of our associates the other day, and I said, well, Harry, how do you keep up with that change? And I said, you read. And at least an hour at the beginning of the day. In fact, I use ChatGPT to send me the top 5 issues in human resources on a global scale, on a global basis, and send that to me every morning. So I'm ahead of the game in what I'm looking at reading. If I like and it sends me links. So if I like one of the articles, I dig in deeper. The reality is you have to be able to stay ahead by educating yourself. As a CHRO of the organization, my responsibility to the 1,400 plus employees associates that we have, plus 300 or 400 of our contractors globally in 8 different countries, is to provide a platform for them to be able 24/7 that they can help educate themselves as well, not only in AI, but in everything that we do for our client base, whether that's how to position work a little bit better, or how to be a little bit more innovative, how to deliver in a faster, more efficient way. It's always incumbent upon the talent executive, CHRO, if you want to call it, or the chief people officer, to make sure that there's an education platform that is available, that's availed, and it is impactful for all your associates.
Hmm. Do you have any specifics on that? What that looks like a knowledge base, a learning and development tool? Like what? Help us uh, paint that picture.
So there's knowledge-based tools that you can utilize. We do a lot of knowledge based education. And what we also do is make sure that we also go through a process where we're testing through the different chapters. So we make it fun. Making sure that you're gamifying the education is very, very important these days. But as well as making sure that the topics aren't stale. What happens is that if you look at education in the past like a cost of doing business, you right out of the gate, you're behind because it's really an investment. So one of the first things that I do when I speak to any talent executive or any human resource executive is ask them about their education process or education platforms. When they speak in terms of cost, I know that it's probably going to be a little bit of a tougher discussion. When we speak in terms of investment, Emily, then I'm speaking to an executive who understands that this has to be an evolution process, a platform that has to grow with the business, and a platform that must look at education and its curriculum to see if it's really stale. You have to stay at the pace. The toughest issues, and it's not an easy issue to address, Emily, is the fact that AI is changing so fast and the tools are being created so quickly that it's hard to stay ahead of some of these platforms and be able to educate in a given process. I think the most important thing is, are you providing that education? Are you gamifying that education so it makes it interesting to take the courses? And then also, what are you doing beyond your curriculum to help reskill the individuals? And
Hmm.
that's what it's going to take. It's really about reskilling. And are there outside courses that you can take? And are there outside talent that you can bring into the organization that'll help drive this new way of thinking in a more positive way?
Yeah. I also like the idea of harnessing internal talent, right? There, like you said, some people this will spark anxiety. For others, it sparks energy, curiosity, enthusiasm. And I bet if anyone listening thinks about their own organization, there's probably a few people that pop right to mind as, the AI enthusiasts who are in the weeds, who are loving this, right? And how can you tap them to be a resource for the rest of your coworkers?
Exactly. How do you utilize them to be a catalyst within the organization? You have those
Mhm.
individuals, we'll call them athletes within the locker room that'll drive a sense of urgency and a sense of competitiveness and a sense of can-do attitude. Those are the individuals you want to make sure they're not going to know everything about the given subject, but they are going to be able to say, we can learn about this together, we can drive this together. And that momentum, those momentum type of individuals or individuals that drive momentum are critical to the success of the organization really expanding beyond your current capabilities.
Yeah. And with the velocity being so fast, it's almost the optimistic take on that is that, everyone's behind. So
That's
it's more
correct.
about your mindset sometimes and your attitude,
That is correct.
your willingness to jump in. No one is an expert is what I'm trying to say.
Not at this point. I mean, there are experts. I mean, we've become really, really good. In fact,
Mhm.
we have this tool that allows our clients to become experts kind of quickly. Let me kind of explain this a little bit because
Mhm.
it's an AI tool, Emily, that allows you to look. It's called AI XPLR, and it's a tool that allows you to look at any process with any of the kind of enterprise functions. let's take human resources. It can look at, it can ingest your current recruiting process, or you can start with our recruiting process, and it can tell you at a work step level where AI might be a great fit. Just given, let's just say you're an Oracle HCM platform, or you have SAP or Workday or what have, it'll tell you for those softwares what at that work step if there's an embedded AI within that current version. And if not, which typically there isn't, is more AI is more embedded across the process. It'll tell you what areas of opportunity you may have to implement AI. And I think in that process, just think about that. You're in a workshop, you're kind of going through this, you're recruiting and staffing experts, and you're seeing this in play. That's part of the education process. That is where you start seeing, okay, I can see how this tool actually kind of works.
Yeah. I can see that being incredibly helpful. You mentioned for HR teams sitting down to map the employee flow, the employee experience,
Exactly right.
from day one all the way through to
Exactly.
exits, right?
Because there's embedded AI within any platform. There's configurable AI, which is with that you can configure either using an AI tool within that platform. And then there's extended AI, which you can extend it beyond outside the walls of the ACM system. Any one of those are available to our clients and the audience today. The question becomes really, where do you begin? How do you begin? What are some of the first steps to take? And I think to answer that question, to answer my own question, I would say is to really start at the assessment piece. Where's the greatest opportunity for you, and where do you have a critical mass, and how is that opportunity going to be a solution through an AI tool?
Hmm. That's great advice. Have there been any use cases for your team, right? That thinking about some wins, some experiments that went well. Do you have anything that
Yeah.
comes to mind for you?
Yeah, we experimented, and some things didn't work and some others didn't work. And the ones that did work, our first start that we assessed where we would have some areas of opportunity that were in our assessment that were easy to achieve. So we wanted something that was easy to achieve, easy to implement, and that had some return on investment. And we came up with, you'll find this kind of routine, but birthday announcements and anniversary announcements. It was taking time. It was taking 4 or 5, 6 hours a month of different individuals to get this done. And we solutioned this within a week and eliminated a lot of manual intervention and eliminated a lot of errors in that process, and actually very much increased engagement, because now the announcements are timely. Individuals can reach out directly to the employees on their birthdays and what have you. And I think that just that simple task was a big eye opener for us. We're going to attack more of the upstream processes, like in the recruitment process, in the comp process, in the in the reskilling or skills assessment process. We're going to be getting into all those. Now that we understand the components and how this kind of works, it's going to be very, very key.
I really like your example though, because I think when people say niche, that's what they mean. Like if it's taking time and someone's doing it and it can be automated, like that's a win. And it might be something minor, but that's a good place to start and also a very low risk place to start.
And it also, Emily, allows us to test our governance. So it allows us, you have to have a sense of understanding of the data that you have, and where, there's some personal information you can't be sharing, what have you. So it also tests your kind of your governance and your kind of the empathy really around how do you manage some of this data in a very ethical way. So it really starts to test it at that level. And if you start thinking about that, I mean, and you look at it from an assessment perspective and starting small, I think those are the keys to success.
Yeah. I saw something on your LinkedIn that was about like, there's been a lot of chatter lately about AI implementations being, so there's a data suggesting that those aren't effective. And I think the perception was, let's push back on that for a second, because it's not that the AI is less effective, right? It's the how of the
Yes.
implementation. Could you talk to me more about that? What you're seeing?
Yeah. So it's almost like let me put it in a perspective. It's almost like a plumber, right? You have a plumber, and you have a phenomenal plumber, and you have a plumber that's not that good. They're both good people. Try to do the right thing, but one has better tools than the other, and that's what AI is. AI is a phenomenal tool, and how to utilize that tool is very, very key. There are some individuals who kind of raced into the AI, arena and didn't do their homework when it came to setting the right governance, setting the right policies and procedures in place. We're an IP-centric organization. We just can't be providing our intellectual property everywhere and into a large language model sharing that. You have to be reasonable and very smart about how you are going to leverage your data, especially when you speak about individuals' personal information. So first and foremost, you have to have that governance structure in place. Albeit it's not going to be perfect the day one. And those companies who are stating that they didn't get the bang for the buck and what have you, it might be true. And that's why I think that or going through a tool set and a process like AI Explorer is so key because it does identify your richest areas of opportunity. Now they may be very complex. That's okay. But if you start staggering them and get to the point where you have less complexity with some return on investment, and you kind of circle those and you go after those, then great. Some other companies, their culture is not built that way. So it really depends on the company. Some cultures are around, let's go for the biggest bang for the buck. Even if it's complex, we'll learn through the process. That's good for them. So I go back to assessing, Emily, where your greatest opportunities are across a dimension of processes, whether that's payroll, HR, what have you, finance, identifying that, and then making a collective decision around what makes sense for your organization. That's key. Those organizations who did not get the biggest bang for the buck ran into it or ran into the situation without really having a good governance model, without knowing the return on investment opportunities. What happens is you lose cycle times, and then the return is not there. So that's kind of basic business 101.
Yeah, I saw that MIT study that was making the rounds a while ago about the sort of lack of return on AI pilots. But one thing that stuck out most to me was just that where those pilots were. And to your point about getting really precise about where's their return, the greatest return was in like the ops and admin use cases. Yet, if you look at where the dollars were spent, they were all spent in sales and marketing.
That's
Where,
correct.
but it's like,
Which is hard to measure kind of sometimes. But
yeah,
let's get out of human resources. Let's talk about
yeah,
contracts. Um, think about a construction company who goes through a number of RFPs and proposals. Those proposals cannot be that different from one project to another project. Let's just think about the 80% of ingesting all these proposals that you have and saying, I have this X company, here's the square footage, here's the size of the building, here's the kind of the architectural design that we want, and adjusting that and it kind of creating a proposal right off the bat. That proposal typically will take a few months to create, where in this will take maybe a day in as much as creating the proposal, kind of refining the proposal and what have you. So just think in those terms. When you speak and you nailed it, is when you speak about kind of the operational side, that's where the money's at. If you can speed that up and you can get one individual to produce 11 proposals as compared to one individual producing two proposals, you really increase the return on investment for that talent spent.
absolutely. Right. I'd love to try out that tool sometime. Maybe I can get the HR Voices special, try it out.
We'll do it. We'll spend another episode on that. That's episode number 2.
Episode number 2. Well,
Yes,
it's been really great talking with you, Harry. Do you have any sort of last words of advice that you want to share with HR listeners today?
I would. I would say that in my experience, we're a defining moment in HR, where technology is really finally and truly delivering on the promise of evolutionary change. But we can't lose sight of the actual purpose. The future of work isn't just really digital. It's really deeply human. So you have to balance between this incredible digital opportunity that we have and this tool that we have with the human aspect of it. So as CHROs, as HR executives, our legacy really is going to be measured on how well we help people thrive through this transformation. How well we help people, our associates, drive through this transformation and stay ahead of this velocity curve, as well as the business. See, as HR executives and talent executives, we have two constituents. We have our associates and the business. And the balancing of those two things is always very, very critical. But to me, the being able to understand that this is an incredible moment of change, and being able to help both our associates and the business drive to that change is very, very key. And it's an absolute great time to be in human resource. Absolute great time.
Yeah, this is HR's moment.
It is HR's moment. You could not say it any better.
Well, thanks for spending time with us today, Harry. I appreciate it.
Emily, thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to the next time I'll be able to speak with you. Thank you.
Take care.
Take care now.